everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of Topic
Thunder.
Here from the Top 10, I am John Roca.
And I am Matt Nost, and this is a show that we do for our patrons over at patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10. They send in whatever they'd like us to talk about, and we answer them as they come in. We do not know what they are beforehand. And I believe it is my turn to start.
Please take it away.
So this comes from Dale Varley Jr., and he says, Jen, I hope this message finds you well. Maybe by the time you get around to this one, John will have come out of retirement, join the senior league. Seems more and more likely with every passing day. All joking aside, here are my questions. Is there a novel that either hasn't been adapted into a movie or TV series, or one that has already been adapted that you'd like to see a remake of? So we'll go ahead and start there. What?
Oh, we'll just start there.
Yeah, why not? And then we can just read the second one after we finish this one.
You know, for the longest time, it was The Alienist, and then that TV series came out, which I enjoyed for the most part. So it's tough for me, though. I mean, because I guess I would default to some Richard North Patterson novels. There are a bunch of Richard North Patterson novels that I really enjoyed reading. It's a bunch of lawyer fiction in the realm of Grisham, but I would say a cut above Grisham. As much as I've enjoyed Grisham, I think Richard North Patterson does an excellent job with his books that are stellar. But my number one choice is Andrew Vachss. I've said this before on the show 100 times when people have asked this or other shows. Andrew Vachss, Vacchss. I think it's two S's. I can't encourage people enough to read his stuff. If you're into following a guy, a private eye who's got like a pretty tough history in his past, being an orphan, being raised in foster homes and in the juvenile detention system, falling in with a bunch of people who are streetwise and street weary, setting up a system and a code and a kind of environment for him to function in. And he tracks down people who commit sex crimes in New York. And it's the hard-boiled detective, but set in modern times. And it's something that I thoroughly love. And it pulls no punches. It's pretty graphic. And I know there have been adaptation possibilities. I've spoken with the author over email numerous times to try to see how much the rights would be to buy a couple of his books to turn into screenplays, possibly turn into movies. And it has never come to fruition in either case. So it's an unfortunate situation, but Flood is the first book, and that's the one that people should start with. Get on to Shella, and then there's a bunch of other books that are just fantastic. So that's my number one choice is starting from the beginning, Flood by Andrew Vachss.
I mean, given the state of the world right now, there's got to be some sort of Tom Clancy book.
Oh, I'm sure.
They could easily be turned into a series, or it's a Rainbow Six or something like that, although that's a video game. I mean, you have the Jack Ryan series, but I wasn't that big a fan.
Right. No, I tried that one for a couple episodes. He just, I don't buy him as that character. I really, nothing against Krasinski, just don't buy him, man.
I don't buy the story of it. Everything seems convenient, and I don't know. And I never got into it. So I feel like there's something there that could be done. Obviously it won't anytime soon. I always liked the book, A Confederacy of Dunces, and I figured that could be an easy movie translation.
Is that PJ O'Rourke? Is that who that is?
I can't remember. I read it 20 years ago.
That's a great one. Good reference, man.
But it's one of those, like, it gets a lot of hype, and then you read it, and it goes one of two ways. You either don't buy the hype, or you totally get it. And the author's got a crazy story where he wrote this and then died, and his mom took the book around and shopped it. And ends up being, in a lot of people's estimation, one of their favorite books of all time, which is, crazy that it comes out. Now, maybe you do something like End of Tour, where it's like a behind-the-scenes type of, but I think it's an easy translation. I know that there have been projects over the years that have tried to get that movie made.
Right.
I'm just surprised that we've gotten no iteration. Like, I want to say David Bowie was attached at one point.
Yeah. No surprises.
The long gestating Devil in the White City.
Oh yes, right. You've mentioned that one before.
Yeah, that's easily a TV series.
Yeah.
a one-season TV series, but a TV series nonetheless. And it's still listed, last I checked, on Scorsese's IMDb page.
That's still something he wants to do.
Yeah, it's still in, production turnaround hell type of thing
Yeah.
where he owns the rights to it and would like to do it. So I'm trying to think what else has been adapted. I mean, I'd like another shot at Eternals, even though I never read it.
Yeah.
There's got to be a better movie in there somewhere.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Yeah.
But yeah, I never read the comics. I don't know when that timeline started.
And just credit, John Kennedy Toole is the name of the author for Confederacy of Dunces. I got confused with the P.J. O'Rourke. Yeah. Well, was a nice.
Yeah. When did Eternals? Just out of curiosity, do you know when it came into existence?
What do you mean? Well, I mean, it's obviously a comic book series.
Yeah. Is it one of those like from the '60s? They introduced the characters and then really fleshed it out.
Yeah, the first issue came out in 1976.
There you go.
Created by Jack Kirby. That was their first appearance. But of course, I don't know if anybody can see from behind me, but yeah, the Neil Gaiman version is out there. There's a bunch of versions of Eternals that are out there for people to read who kind of exploring the story or rebooting the story or what have you. So sure. I mean, I think a lot of people would like. And did you hear Chloe Zhao? She came out in an interview and she was saying how, we just kind of broke the system and people weren't ready to accept that. It's like, no, it's just not a good movie.
You made a boring movie. There is no system to be broken here.
That's the frustrating part of this is like, do you really believe this or is this brand saving? Is this you trying to say, I'm still a viable director. You guys just didn't get it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's like Elizabeth Banks with Charlie's Angels.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Although that was infinitely worse to me.
Yes.
Well, only because I read more of the quotes that I didn't know about, any of the Eternals backlash from the creators.
Yeah.
I assume there would be just because it wasn't received as well as like, I think that's got to be the poorest reception for a Marvel movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's the worst rated one on the critic side. And I think worst one on the audience side as well. So.
And I think the audience is even more forgiving than I would have. But
she was talking to Empire and she said, when people have that feeling like they need to put order into things, they need to understand it by putting it into boxes. It is not about us. It is about them. And I say that lovingly because they have a level of comfort with how their entertainment and their world, their beloved Marvel or their beloved indie filmmaker functions. That's the order, the logic of their world that's being disturbed. So I appreciate their passion to try to make sense of it. That is absolutely ridiculous to say that somehow we all just don't fucking get it. And we just want our Marvel and our prepackaged such horseshit. Because then the inherent point of that, Matt, is she's saying that every director who's come before her has basically made a prepackaged product.
Yeah. It's like IKEA and they just got the instructions and put it together.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's so insulting and a bit arrogant to say shit like that, I don't give a fuck what her gender is. To me, it's like it's irrelevant to gender. Anybody fucking say that is cocky or arrogant.
You made a mediocre movie. Yeah. Just own up to it. I love it's not us, it's you.
Yeah, okay, I say that lovingly.
Yeah, fuck off. If you think it's a gender thing, I watched Zero Dark 30 again last night just because I was like, God, I'd like to see that movie again. Catherine Bigelow, crushed that movie.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't just make a good movie. That's all we want.
There are plenty of female directors who've challenged us and taken us out of our boxes and had us enjoy their work. So, you just made a bad movie or a divisive movie. And what's his face still defends The Last Jedi, and more power to him. Ryan Johnson still defends. There are plenty of people who hate that movie and plenty of people like that movie.
Yeah, he made a dog shit movie.
Yeah, I always think it's a danger to insult the audience.
Yeah, it's dog shit. It's Eternals was boring, but it's not bad.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan made something, in my opinion, it is terrible.
First 45 minutes are absolutely terrible. Yeah. And then it gets better and then it falls apart. Yeah.
The Monte Carlo stuff.
Oh, yeah. The Canto Bight shit. Oh,
yeah. The Rose and Boyega are now a thing. Why is that? He's been pining, for Rey
Right,
for a
right.
movie and a half. What, he's just pivoting suddenly? I thought this was his love.
Yeah, there's
Uh,
for me, there's I don't know if that was, there's a lot of rumors that it was Disney executives who told him to make that change. And certainly with Disney taking so much shit over the "Don't Say Gay" bill and seeing all that shit coming out, you can't argue that it was probably them who said, "Hey, let's not have an interracial romance as our lead romance. Let's move him over to a woman of color, to an Asian
quite
woman,
possibly.
and let's have Ray just hook up with Kylo." And so it's a bad look, man. It's a bad fucking look. And certainly Boyega said on numerous occasions that they were the ones that were supposed to be the romance in that Star Wars trilogy. So, you know.
I would have believed more of a pivot to Boyega and Oscar Isaac.
Certainly that was in
Yeah.
play. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they had a bond. You could see it. Maybe
Yeah.
that comes to fruition more than let's just create a new character out of whole cloth,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then suddenly she's saving one another and
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, neither here nor there.
Right.
In regards to the question,
Yeah.
I would love I've said it before. The one Star Wars series I want is Darth Vader, but there's a good comic book run
Yes,
about
there is.
Vader hunting Jedis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turn that right into a TV show, and does crazy. I've realized they probably want to get away from certain aspects of the Skywalker trilogy, and not everything needs to happen around this one family.
Right, right.
But you've created a few truly iconic characters. Might as well take advantage of them. Although I did like that story that Darth Maul was written out because Rey is rightly persona non grata. But
Yeah.
it sucks because I was kind of holding out hope. Oh, does Maul come in at like the end of the season to
Yeah.
say, here's what's coming in season 2? And just like, well, that's not happening. Although why they can't just recast the actor entirely
Yeah. I don't know.
is, yeah, I don't know. Give him Sam Witwer's voice and another actor's face or something. Who knows?
Absolutely. I just think they wanted to focus more on Vader, and maybe the Ray Park thing had something to do with it. Fellow nerd pal Michael Vogel rejects my
Dork dude.
yeah, Dork Dude rejects my theory because he's like, "There's no way they were thinking about that." And I'm like, "Well, that's possible because the controversy happened in 2020, and they were building out Kenobi back in 2020. So it's very possible they're like, oh, we don't want to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
Let's move away from Maul. Let's focus on Vader." I mean, there's no way that you can't say that isn't a possibility until you really put everybody under a polygraph and find out for sure. But for me, that's you can't remove that from the conversation as a possibility.
And I'm pretty sure Kathleen Kennedy could pass a polygraph one way or the other,
That's probably true. I think all the great producers could pass a polygraph one way or
Yep.
another.
Doesn't matter what question
Yeah,
you ask them, they can give the answer that needs to be heard and
that's
believe,
right.
they'll believe it because you need to believe it.
Exactly. And they
Yep.
will talk themselves into it because they need to keep making their money. Yeah.
Well, it's not a lie if it's the reality we need to create. Like,
Mhm.
that logic makes no sense, but okay. And I don't know that about her specifically,
Oh,
but
yeah. Saying overall.
yeah, producers in general don't have the best of reputations in
No,
this
no,
town.
no. Agreed.
Um,
Producers.
so, all right, his second question then
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
likewise, is there a comic graphic novel or storyline that you'd like to see adapted? Thanks for the entertainment, fellas. Dale Varley Jr.
Dale Varley. My number one answer is The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I did not like, I initially liked that movie, but the more I've watched that movie since, it really does date and it becomes terrible the more you watch it. And so for me, 100% the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because it's such a brilliant idea. And we did get a version of that in Penny Dreadful, kind of. So there is some element of that there. But hey, that ran for what, 3 seasons or two or 3 seasons? So it's possible. And certainly there's a taste for it. So I think if you were to adapt League of Extraordinary Gentlemen with a better director, better cast, nothing against that cast, but a cast that isn't a bunch of nobodies and some TV actors and Sean Connery, then yeah, I would absolutely be down with seeing a better version of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen because I still think those old classic novels are taught in schools. People still discover them. People still talk about them.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
characters in that the first version of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in terms of the graphic novels is incredible. So I would like to see that brought to life again, as a series, to be honest with you, or a really damn good movie.
yeah, I'd pare down some of the options and or bring in different characters. I mean, the author of that basically just used public domain
Alan Moore.
characters.
Yeah.
So there are other public domain characters. Like, do we need Dorian Gray? Does anybody give
Yeah.
two shits about Dorian Gray?
Right. Or the Invisible Man. Do you really need the Invisible
The
Man?
Invisible Man could work because,
Mm.
we just had the Invisible Man movie. It still has
We
some
did.
sort of pop culture cachet.
That was about her, though, more than it was about him.
True.
But yeah.
But the specter of him is a good character to have.
Right.
Like the anonymous vampire woman. Well, just make it Dracula or something.
Nina Harker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Turning Nina
Or
into a vampire. Yeah.
Jekyll
and Hyde.
Jesse James. Jekyll and Hyde's a good one.
Yeah.
Everybody still remembers Jekyll and Hyde?
Sure. The guy, though, Tom Sawyer, he was added. He was not in the original graphic novel, so he was added for the movie, and it showed. It showed, and they were trying to appeal to American audiences by having an American guy in there, and so it didn't work at all in so many ways. And Connery was fine as Alan Quartermain, but shiniest turd in the pile doesn't mean it's a good pile. So, is there one? What about you? Is there a graphic novel for you, or a comic, or a storyline that you'd like to see adapted?
Let's see, the Kraven the Hunter series in Spider-Man.
Well, that's coming.
Oh, that's officially coming?
Oh yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson is playing
Oh,
Kraven.
that's right.
Yeah. They've cast a few people now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just brought up the Vader.
Sure. But that's also coming as a version of it in Kenobi, because Vader's in Kenobi and they're hunting down Jedi.
Not the same
that
thing. I just wanted to follow Vader. That's all I want. Is
You
the
just want
bad guy
Vader-centric stories.
Yes, I want to follow Vader, to see him how he deals with running this massive, like, being boots on the ground.
Yeah.
For the Emperor, and actually out there doing all the fucking work. And to see a bad guy win and win and win, if there's any kind of internal struggle there, does he still have visions of Padme, or Obi-Wan, or his former life, like all of that? I would love to find that stuff out.
Yeah.
And not in a midichlorian type of way,
Right.
Where it's, if there is no answer, that's fine. If there's no answer, let's just move on to another question.
Yeah, fair point.
Let's see what others, because most like the Batman series have either been turned into or been basically cobbled together and used for movies, or there's a direct to DVD of it. So I think any of those are pretty much gone. And you assume the huge crossover at the end of this Marvel series is going to be what is that stupid where they have to fight each other on a separate planet?
Secret Wars.
Yeah, Secret Wars is coming.
It's probably coming. Yeah, I mean, we're getting Secret Invasion later on this year, I think, and so I imagine Secret Wars can't be too far behind down the road.
Yeah. Let's see. And I liked Secret Wars. I'm trying to think of what other big comic book runs.
Yeah, we did Infinity Gauntlet. We've done Civil War.
The McFarlane run on Spider-Man, where he brings Lizard back, but we've already used Lizard.
I like the McFarlane run on Spider-Man. That was a great fucking run. Dude, great artists, man. Those great comic book artists, fuck, man, they make all the difference. The story, for me, as I've said before, the story could be half good or okay, and I'm still going to enjoy it because of the artwork. That's just how I'm built,
I don't know. That's all I can come up with right now. I'm sure there's others that I'm forgetting, but it's also been 3.5 decades since I was religiously reading comic books. So
fair point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then thank you, Dale Barley Jr. for that question. Let's move on to Noel Kelleher here. He says, hey, gents, first time emailer. Hey, all right. Congratulations. Been with you guys from day one and a patron from day one also. Love the shows and the banter you have together. So my question is, if you could make a DC and Marvel mashup movie, what characters would you put together and what would be the premise for the movie? Cheers, lads. Noel from a stormy Cork City in Ireland. Oh, wow. Wow, Ireland. Well, happy St. Patrick's Day, Noel, as we're recording this. So thank you. That was the best I could do in that accent. Matt, DC and Marvel mashup movie. What characters and what's the storyline?
Let's see. What characters and what is the storyline?
Hmm.
So, what if you paired up like the normal people? So you have
Mhm.
Batman and Iron Man, and they have to like something happens to Superman and Captain Marvel, and they're
Mm.
not in their right mind. And the only two people that have game planned for this very specific scenario are Batman and Iron Man, and they have to basically not kill them, but stop them, confine them, and figure out what's wrong and convert them back over to being their normal selves.
Mm. That's a good one.
That's all I got. It's basically stealing that Justice League and adding Iron Man and Captain Marvel to it. So there you go.
Mm.
And completely unoriginal idea presented as a real idea.
Brought to you by Matt Nose.
Yep.
Matt Nose Productions. I guess mine is Batman as well, but with Wolverine, and maybe setting it in Elseworlds type situation where they're solving a crime. Where Wolverine, because he's a tracker, such a good tracker, there's a combo there with him and almost like a Holmes and Watson type thing, with Batman and Wolverine. Not that Wolverine would be some kind of second banana Watson type character, more of an active Watson, more of a, going out there and trying to find out what he's trying to find out along with Batman to try to solve the crime. And we've seen the Elseworlds with him and Houdini. I think there's one with him
Yeah.
and Holmes.
There's
So,
one with him and Holmes.
yeah. So it could be fascinating to see one with him and Wolverine. And of course, Wolverine is the hairy guy. He's a smaller guy. He's got to carry maybe the houndstooth cap there to cover. I know that Holmes usually wears it, but maybe he wears it in the scenario, trying to solve this situation, and solve a crime. Maybe a crime involving what? Maybe a version of Brainiac back then with like one of those steampunk type computer type things.
Okay.
With who would? Yeah, with a Magneto type. That could be interesting. Maybe Magneto and Brainiac, two of the strongest brains, certainly in each of their universes, coming together here, trying to pull off some crime of the century, or some way of like killing a large majority of people, and they have to kind of stop them. So I don't know. It's coming up on the fly. Just coming up with that on the fly. So
I love the team up. That's fun.
Right? And
Yeah.
it's combustible.
It's a good pairing, yeah, between the two different personalities.
Yeah.
What about Constantine and Doctor Strange?
Oh, I
And
love that.
Yeah, they have to fight demons from a parallel dimension or something.
Yeah. I like that. Or another mystic sorcerer who commands demons. That would be great.
Or you could do Constantine and Thor, and Loki is teamed up with the devil.
Oh, shit. Well, you got to throw an Etrigan as some kind of playing both sides type character. That could be fun as hell. I love that idea. Ooh, that's a good combo.
Let's see.
What about Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel? I suppose they could work together in something.
Yeah, I like Wonder Woman and Wolverine too.
Oh, God, yeah. I bet there'd be a romance there, don't you think? Like a little
Possibly.
little spark. And I don't say that it has to be. You don't have to have romance.
No, doesn't hurt though.
It's believable. It could be believable.
It is believable.
Kind of late night, kind of cuddling up in the snow, trying to survive under a shed or something.
Yeah,
something happens.
We've seen his softer side with Jean Grey over the years.
Yes.
So he can turn off that, animal nature of his. Or perhaps that's what drew her in. Who knows?
Wasn't it Kamiko too? Am I wrong on that? His Mariko. Sorry, Mariko. Mariko is the one that he has the feelings for. Yeah. I forgot about that. So yeah, that's possible.
See.
Yeah, okay, all right. I like this idea.
Who haven't we used? Because like in DC, it's Superman. I think everybody else is a secondary character to me.
Ooh,
it's
wow.
Flash, Cyborg.
You could do Flash Quicksilver. That could be fun.
Two dudes that run fast. Who cares?
Or Flash and maybe Flash and Scarlet Witch, so that there's like shades of the Quicksilver stuff, but he's a completely different type approach to having that super speed, and she's got to figure out how to work with him because he's not her brother, and he has a different point of view and different way of using his powers. It could be interesting.
But by that logic, you could also do her and the Martian.
Martian Manhunter? Oh, yeah. That would be cool.
Because he's closer to Vision.
Dude. Yeah.
And then she upgraded, in my opinion, going from Quicksilver to Vision, even though that was her brother who passed. But
yeah, that could be interesting for sure. Because Martian Manhunter has so much pain. Would she use that in a critical moment in order to save the situation? Yeah, I like that idea actually. Plus, he in the comics, he's played the dual roles of a human and Martian Manhunter as well. And so would that come into play? That could be interesting.
There's also the possibility, because, team up can go both ways. You could have like Magneto and Lex Luthor. And they're teaming up.
Yikes.
To take down the world. And then it takes, a menagerie of individuals from both sides.
I think that's a dangerous matchup on so many levels because, like, yes, they're formidable together, but also they're both such adamant alphas and adamant believers in their point of view that it could lead to a lot of fun conflict between them and little asides or shade being thrown in the panels at each other. I think that's brilliant. That could be a lot of fun to explore, to see how they could possibly try to work together and then eventually screw the other one over at the critical moment and try to have their
more than likely,
yeah,
to get there. They needed the other to help get to this point.
Yeah.
To the last, the Hillary step, and then they can get over the top and make it to Everest on their own.
Right. For you kids, he means Edmund Hillary, not Hillary Clinton. Just for you kids. I just want to make sure you guys understand.
Well, I did say the top of Everest. So unless you know something about Hillary Clinton that I don't,
I don't take anything for granted anymore, Matt. So I like to explain these things to
you. Leave some things you got to Google that shit. Look it up.
Look it up.
It's fine. You can't explain everything.
That's for sure.
But yeah, I mean, if you could ever get these two worlds to actually work together, there's a lot of fun possibilities. Obviously, it's never going to happen.
Right. Well, I don't know. I never say never. And we've seen Sony share Spider-Man. We've seen the Marvel and Eternals reference Superman. So they made 2 or 3 DC references in Eternals. So I don't know, man. There's possibilities down the road that they're slowly opening the door to that I could see happening if they work out a deal, to be able to have that come to be. Who knows? Now they're opening the door to multiverses. Anything is possible. So.
Yeah, I got to assume it's like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit when they wanted Mickey and Bugs Bunny, and Warner Brothers agreed so long as they both had the same amount of screen time. So it'd be something like that where, sure, but same screen time and we split the profits.
Yeah, it would have to be something like that. Absolutely. Yeah. But there'd be so much profit. I bet that movie would be the highest grossing movie ever made if it was a good movie. A Marvel DC crossover could break $3 billion. I put money on it right now. I put money on it.
And you're right with this multiverse. Both sides are doing this now with the Flash, doing Flashpoint Paradox or whatever it's called.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be canon. It's just multiverse stuff.
Yeah. Like a one-off.
Yeah. I'd be down.
I mean, I think any comic book fan would be down.
As long as they did it right. That's the number one thing.
When you go to write the script, just what is going to make Martin Scorsese flip out the most, and you put pen to paper and you get that up on the screen.
You got to cast Robert De Niro as an old Magneto.
All his favorites, a CGI Don Rickles, kind of like Grand Moff Tarkin, and you spoke to the family and you got the rights from the estate and you brought him back.
An old Joe Pesci is an old Wolverine. Old Man Logan and Joe Pesci is Old Man Logan.
Sure. I can't imagine Pesci signing off for any new projects ever, let alone something like this.
Oh, anyway.
Whereas De Niro, I think you got a chance.
Please.
I think you genuinely have a chance.
You should have to put the zeros on the check. De Niro now.
At this point, yeah, that
He's
guy
doing
does. I mean, God bless him.
I mean, bad grandpa, give me a fucking break, man.
Just wants to work, apparently.
Yeah, insane. Means he must owe a lot of money. I suppose the Tribeca situation, he has to make that money. Once you latch yourself onto a company, man, you no longer become this principled, idealistic actor who picks and chooses his work. You've got to do what you got to do to keep that thing alive, man. So you take where the paycheck is. But you don't lose credibility because, I mean, De Niro could show up in a Godfather in another like mafia movie tomorrow. And people would be all about it, because for as crazy as Bad Grandpa, I remember the one he most recent with the war, whatever it was, with him and Morgan Freeman and those kids. He was in The Irishman. So it's like, for all the things you can say, he still fucking knows how to dial it in when he needs to.
Seems like he takes the other projects just to continue to work at this point.
Exactly.
I can't imagine it's about the money. It's just I'd rather be working, excuse me, than
Bless
sitting at home and doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, there you go. That's our episode of Topic Thunder. It's a good place to stop here. Over 31 minutes. Thank you so much to everybody who's joined us, and thanks to all the patrons who send in their questions, thoughts, and comments for us to answer. Remember, if you're $5 and above, this is a perk of yours for supporting us at that level. For you that you get to send in questions, thoughts, and comments, and the email is on our Patreon. So if you want to go and look it up, you can look it up there, and you can send in stuff. And please keep sending in stuff. We're starting to get more questions, more thoughts, and comments and stuff, which is great. But please keep sending them in so we have even more in our coffers to get to. And this was fun. So yeah, thanks to everybody who sent in questions. Noel Kelleher there from Cork City, Ireland, or Cork County, Ireland. There you go.
Yep. Noel and Dale, thank you so much for sending in your questions. And you can join in fun over at patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10. So please hit us up over there. You can follow the show at Top 10 Show, all spelled out, on Twitter. Otherwise, on Instagram and YouTube, it is /the top 10 podcast with the number 10. So please hit us up. We'd love to have you. And you can follow me anywhere at Matt Nost.
You can follow me at The Roca Says on Twitter and Instagram. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of Topic
Thunder.